not our presentation.
Hey everybody, this is Raul Smith. Welcome to another episode of the Closing Tag. Name of this episode is Where Are the Footbally Things? I touch a little bit on Tom Brady's legacy. Of course, this was recorded before the Super Bowl. The potential coming carousel at the quarterback position in the NFL, as well as the Kyrie Irving situation. Yeah, that take aged rather nicely. I'm being sarcastic, if you can't tell. Yeah, I also touch on some Twitter shoutouts, as well as finished up the tutorial that I was starting in the previous episode, which is the copyright year at the bottom of the website auto-updating with the turn of the year. Just a heads up, we're going to be changing up the schedule just a little bit. More details to come on my Twitter account in the coming days. Follow me there at GalacticBlue1. That's on Twitter. I also am probably going to be changing the format up a little bit. Just kind of, changing things up. As I mentioned in the first episode, this is a very grassroots operation, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing to start things off. Let's be perfectly honest here. So, just kind of experimenting on a few things, and yeah. But I did want to thank everybody that was able to not only download the episode on Stitcher and Spotify, but also watched the segments of the episode on YouTube. That helps a lot for sure. And yeah, just a friendly reminder that this episode and every episode of the Closing Tag is unofficially sponsored by Galactic Blue, your web development, graphic design, and logo design resource. Visit galacticblue.net for all of your questions on how our services can benefit your business. And with that, I will now turn it over to, myself for another episode of The Closing Tag. Enjoy. Welcome designers and artists of other nature. Welcome videographers and video consumers alike. Welcome to another episode of The Closing Tag. I am Raul Smith. I welcome you back to the podcast. If you recall in our last episode, we were talking about how to have your copyright year auto-update using different variations of code. We're going to pick up on that on this episode, as well as maybe touch up on a couple of projects that I've been working on. But first, as I did before, a reminder that this Twitch stream and this podcast is unofficially sponsored. I actually have the graphic now. Unofficially sponsored by Galactic Blue, your trusted web development, graphic design, and logo design resource. Visit galacticblue.net for more details on how your business can benefit from our services. Before we get started today, I wanted to send a few quick shout outs on Twitter. There are just some amazing people on there that I cannot forget about, especially as I'm just now starting to break my teeth in the podcast field. So, sorry for that. So the first guy that I wanted to highlight is my guy Excellent Flex. Flex has been a motivation and an inspiration for a lot of people for some time, myself included, and I think you guys should follow him at Excellent Flex on Twitter and on Twitch. Dude's got one of the funniest Twitch streams out there, so definitely give him a shout out. Next up is another good guy in Danny Thompson. He's been another source of inspiration, particularly when it comes to self-improvement, trying to stay on top of the latest changes in the web development world. He's a guy that I regularly follow both on Twitter and on Discord. You can find him on Twitter at dthompsondev. The Discord channel should be somewhere. Nope, I guess not. Okay, never mind. Oh, yeah, that was right there. You can see as I'm moving my mouse right there. There you go. Lastly, I know that she is going to feel embarrassed by me doing this, and I don't care. I want to take the time to personally thank my adoring wife, Tiger. I call her my wife even though we're not legally technically married. Without her support and patience, this podcast would not be possible. So go give her a follow on Twitter at TigsCharm, on Twitch at GamingMama_UT, or you can also find her at paddywhackgifts.com. Love you, babe. So we're already 1 month into the new year, 2021. After a very tumultuous, very insane 2020, we saw a year in which a relatively young sports legend in Kobe Bryant died in a horrific helicopter accident. We saw Australian wildfires ravage almost an entire continent. We saw the sports world completely shut down. We saw the way that we consume entertainment in almost every facet change dramatically. Theaters shutting down, racial injustice and riots over police brutality, Amazon's profits nearly tripling, yet workers still not getting the pay or recognition they deserve. A presidential race that saw a dramatic shift in how people perceive the national media, both at home and abroad. Oh, and 400,000 people dying from COVID-19, and that's just here in the States. And already 2021 is off to a rather auspicious start. Riots at the Capitol, more legends in entertainment business dying, including Screech this morning. That was unexpected. R.I.P. Screech. Those who watched Saved by the Bell back in the day know who I'm talking about. Stock market manipulations causing public trust in hedge funds to completely tank. Not to get too personal, me personally, I ended up losing my father just a few weeks ago to cancer. Yes, the other dreaded C word. But I chalk everything that's happened in the last month to what Tiger would call residual energy left over from 2020. So with that in mind, I wanted to float this discussion out on Discord. The link can be found in the description of the pod, of the Twitch stream that you're watching right now, and on YouTube. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. What do you hope will happen for you personally in 2021? Now, if you'd asked me back on January 1st, I would have said for my family to be happy and healthy and make it out of 2021 in one piece. Well, that kind of got kiboshed early on, but I do have some hopes and desires going into the newish year. On a professional level, I am hoping to get back into the dev field after a crazy off year. I've been doing a lot of training in both React and Python in hopes of getting a better understanding of both, particularly with React and Redux. I also want to bring Galactic Blue to a whole other level, which is part of the reason for this particular podcast. I'm also looking to get a few passion projects up and running before the summer. A few of them being mobile apps, but I'm also looking at get some web apps going. I'm even looking at developing desktop apps for the Windows 10 operating system. On the game stream front, a little bit more consistency with my schedule. Last year we had a couple of gaps where I was just either not feeling it or I was having some personal issues going on that affected my ability to play. even now, before today, I've only had one stream so far this year. We're hopefully going to get that going soon enough. I mean, some changes going on could affect those plans. If you're a follower of my game stream channel, go tune in tomorrow night, game stream. So twitch.tv/GameStreamOwl. You'll find out more about those changes, and I may or may not play for the king. On a personal level, I have some bills that I'm hoping resolved by the end of the year. Obviously, an upgrade on my equipment is high up on the list. But more importantly, no more people that matter to me dying. Last year I lost both a very dear family friend and my uncle, who is the last remaining member of my mother's family that I was actually on good terms with. I mean, granted, they both died from old age, but still. And then my father a few weeks ago. I'm hoping for no more death for a while. I've had my share of funerals for a while. I'm hoping for my kids and my nieces and nephews to all have a safe and happy and healthy and awesome new year and be amazing as they always are. I'm hoping my sister makes it to the other end of the year with her health and her sanity intact, and my brothers to be healthy anyway. I worry about them a lot, especially after Dad's passing. But I am hoping the best for Tiger. Again, I call her my wife even though we're not technically married, as she tries to navigate this crazy thing called life. I open the floor to you. What do you guys think? I leave the Discord link in the description on both the Twitch stream. I'm going to be leaving it on YouTube. I'm going to be leaving it on the podcast. What do you guys think? Leave a comment in our Discord chat. Comment in the comment section if you're watching this either live on Twitch or on YouTube after the fact. And again, links are in the description. Have at it. You're more than welcome to stop on by and say hi. So I wanted to get a few sports thoughts in before we jump right back into what we were working on last time. Sound good? Okay. This Kyrie Irving situation in Brooklyn is just wild. Now, for those of you that don't know, Kyrie Irving, basketball all-star point guard for the Brooklyn Nets, is a little off. Can we use off on here? We'll go with off. He's off. He's absolutely convinced the world is flat and essential oils heal all wounds, yet has only played about 50 games in the last 3 seasons. Not 50 games in each of the last 3 seasons, 50 games total over the last 3 seasons. Now, to put that in perspective, there are 82 games in a regular season in basketball. There you go. He was spotted before a game against Boston lighting sage on the famous parquet floor. He has seemingly completely abandoned his Brooklyn's teammates, including fellow All-Star Kevin Durant. And most recently, he no-showed in the middle of a pandemic to show up supposedly without a mask at a kid's birthday party. Listen, the guy is an incredible talent. One of the sickest handles I've seen in basketball. But he's officially become more trouble than he's worth. Especially now that they have James Harden. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm looking to cut bait with this guy ASAP. And if I'm one of the teams looking to trade for Kyrie Irving, I'm looking at how his time in Cleveland ended, how his time in Brooklyn ended, how his time in Boston is going, and I'm going into this thing asking all kinds of questions. Chief being among them, how do you feel about visiting China? I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this next opinion, but as you probably noticed in my last episode, I don't care about people giving me flack for my opinion. I do want to preface by saying this. I've seen a lot of good quarterbacks come and go. Some of the absolute best ever. Elway, Marino, Favre, Steve Young, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. All greats in their own right. And up until recently, I'd considered Joe Montana to be the greatest of them all. His poise, his command of the offense, his ability to dissect a defense under intense pressure, all the stuff of legend. I say up until recently because, and here's the trigger warning, I think Tom Brady may have surpassed him. Take a look at what he's been able to do this season at age 43. He's older than I am. Brand new offense, brand new head coach. This is something that does not happen in football. Even if Tampa Bay doesn't win the big game, and this was recorded a week before the big game, so who knows if they've won or lost, Tom Brady has to be in the conversation as one of the top 3 quarterbacks of all time. He has certainly got my vote, haters be damned. Speaking of quarterbacks, there seems to be a general consensus that there are going to be a lot of potential changes at the quarterback position throughout the entire NFL. Not just minor changes here and there, I mean widespread, game-changing, landscape-altering changes. Already, and this just in with late-breaking news, you have Detroit trading Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Goff and 3 future draft picks, 2 of which being first-rounders. Matt Ryan could potentially be on his way out in Atlanta. Chicago could be on the market looking for a more viable solution at that position. Dallas and Denver could both be in the mix as well, even if it costs Dallas their current guy in Dak Prescott. Aaron Rodgers has hinted that the end may be near for him in Green Bay. Drew Brees has intimated that he's played his last game in the NFL. And even if he hasn't, New Orleans still has to figure out what to do with both Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. Philadelphia may be looking to move on past the Carson Wentz era. San Francisco may be dangling Jimmy Garoppolo like a carrot in front of an unsuspecting bunny. Tom Brady may be playing his last game coming up. I mean, especially if he wins. What better way to cement your legacy as the GOAT than to go out on top? The Washington somethings will likely be buyers in the market. Indianapolis is now in the market after the retirement announcement from Phillip Rivers. Jacksonville looking to move on past the Gardner Minshew era. What an era that was. The Patriots looking to potentially part ways with Cam Newton. Pittsburgh looking to possibly part ways with Ben Roethlisberger. And of course there's the Jets. Enough said. Which brings me to the wild card of this entire situation. Young, up-and-coming Houston Texans quarterback, at least as of this recording, he's still the quarterback for the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson. Frustrated over mismanagement of the team and the way he and others have been on the team have been handled, Watson recently asked for a trade off the team. Where he lands could very well be the second domino to fall, the first, of course, being the Stafford-Goff trade. What would the Texans do? Would they dare trade him in division to the needy Colts or even to the Jaguars in exchange for the first overall pick and first crack at either Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson? Could they trade him to New England for Cam Newton and picks? Would they be petty enough to send him to football purgatory in New York? Would they be willing to bring on a Carson Wentz or Matt Ryan just to get him out of the AFC? Or, as a security, as an insurance policy, that's the word I'm looking for, would they look to get Taysom Hill and some draft picks from New Orleans? One thing is for certain, the changes are already happening throughout the NFL, and the landscape at the quarterback position could look dramatically different come September. Chances are we'll have enough time after finishing up this tutorial from the last episode for some minor grunt work that needs to get done on some projects I'm working on. Then we'll call it an episode for today. Sound good? Now, as you might recall in our last episode, we were demonstrating how to change the dreaded copyright at the bottom of a web page automatically without needing to manually change it every January. Trust me when I tell you, I've worked on over 300 websites over my 10, 11-year career. Changing a website on changing the copyright on every single one of those websites is brutal. And especially when before, I started transitioning over to React, having to change it on every single page was even more brutal. So I'm going to show you in both JavaScript and React on how to change that copyright automatically. So if you will follow me to the big screen here, I'm going to increase the size of the font here. So courtesy of KirstenMartin.com, which is a Squarespace educator, as it says right here, you can change your copyright in line with JavaScript. So simply put, all you gotta do is open your paragraph tag, put in copyright, ampersand copy, semicolon, open your script tag, and just put the JavaScript code in there. Document.write, open parentheses, new date, with date being capital D, open and close parentheses, dot get full year, open close parentheses, and then close parentheses again, and then close the script tag. As long as JavaScript is enabled on your website, you should be able to pull this off. I've tested it a couple of times. It works great. But the way that I have been doing it lately seems to work a little bit better. So I'm going to pull that up right now. Since I got to get in Visual Studio Code anyway, let me increase the font size here as well. Now, for those of you that are seeing this either on Twitch or on YouTube, great. I'm gonna break it down though for everybody that can't see it as kind of a play-by-play. So what I'm looking at right now is the footer component for Paddywhack Homemade Gifts, which is the site that I alluded to earlier that Tiger is a part of. So you've got your imports. These are really not all that important. The big thing that you want to keep in mind is this return. So obviously we're going to start with the div, and that would be a dog sneezing in the background. Open the container. I have container imported from React Strap, which is something I'm going to change when I change the website. Just because I like React Bootstrap a little bit better. Have the copyright right here. So the important part is ampersand copy semicolon, and then this part right here is encased in curly brackets. So it's basically the exact same as what was shown on the JavaScript thing. Basically, all you're doing with those curly brackets is you're encasing JavaScript. Those are the opening and closing script tags. and you don't have to use document.write or anything like that. You just basically have the new date get full year. And I guarantee if you're doing a React site, if you're doing a React web app, this is going to save you time and money. And as a web developer, both are going to come at very high price. So, all of that being said, I implore you to do the research on your own, especially if you're an up-and-coming developer. Definitely reach out on the Discord channel, which again is included in the description. The link is included in the description. I also will be including it in the description for both YouTube and the pod. And, do a Google search. I promise you, you are not going to vaporize or disintegrate into dust because Thanos was not happy that you Google searched the solution to your problem and decided, nope, you're done, bye. He's not going to do that. I promise you. You're fine. So, I'm going to go ahead. For those of you that are watching right now, I am pulling up a project that I've been working on for the last couple weeks now. We're going to pull up, where did he go? Where did he go? Okay, seriously, where did he go? Where the bloody hell did he go? Oh, I know where he went. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to, you know what, let's just do this. Doesn't matter if people see what's going on behind the scenes, it's fine. I need my comforts, dang it! Anyway, so as you can see, if you're watching this on Twitch or on YouTube, I have a project called Jort. Inside joke. I've got my node modules folder, I've got my public folder, and my source folder. The source folder has actions, components, pages, and reducers. And you'll notice, or if you've noticed, the actions and reducers are actually part of Redux. I'm working with Redux. So with the component, I am currently working on this thing called the item card. And I'll show you what that does here in just a bit. I'm just kind of making sure that I didn't accidentally delete all my stuff before, which I didn't, which is awesome. I'm just going to change directories here and npm start. Good old npm start. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. But I did want to reemphasize, the stream, as I'm eating chicken casserole. The stream in this podcast is unofficially sponsored by Galactic Blue, your web development, graphic design, and logo design resource. Visit galacticblue.net for more information on how our services can benefit you and your business. Also, if you're looking to either officially or unofficially sponsor the podcast or the stream, maybe help me upgrade my equipment, that would be awesome. You can visit the Discord channel, which again is in the description. You can also visit galacticblue.net and contact me that way. You can send me an email at contact@galacticblue.net. You can do all of those things to help me upgrade my equipment because apparently it sorely needs it. Why is this taking so long? See, even the dog's groaning. Okay, maybe we won't be working on this right now. What the hey? Here we go. So, as you can see on the screen as it loaded right as I, turned my mic off, you can see that each item card has several individual elements. It has an image, it has the name of the item, a short description, a button which currently does not work as I'm clicking right now, and a set timer. Now the timer, as it's counting down, changes in color as you go, as the examples show here. So my goal is to try to get the button to work. What I'm probably going to wind up doing here is create a new component, item.js. Now this particular item, at least for now, is just going to have basic boilerplate. So we're looking to copy paste this stuff right. Nope. I hate when it does that. Copy paste that right there. So going to be const item arrow function. I'm going to go ahead and return some JSX. Let's see, so we're going to go div, and I love how it automatically gives me a closing tag. What is it I say at the end of each podcast? Always remember your closing tag. There you go. So I'm going to want how am I going to do this? So we've got an item that I'm wanting to show up at every single button click. Now the item itself is probably going to be a modal. So I've got about 5 minutes to figure this out before I call it a day on the podcast. So we are looking at, oh, you know what? I need to do this instead, actually. Hold on. So class item extends React component okay. So we're going to do render, and that's mostly because I'm still learning how to do Redux. So I'm learning how to do the old-fashioned React way of doing Redux, and then kind of transition from there to hooks, just to kind of get a better understanding of how everything works, you know. So return div. I'm going to do a little bit of research over here on this side. Google React Bootstrap. Again, React Bootstrap is something I really like doing. That's one thing that I will probably dive into on the next podcast, is just kind of a deep dive on React Bootstrap and all the benefits that you can gain from learning how to do both React and React Bootstrap. Just makes life so much easier. So let's see here. So we are looking at Modal. So we're actually going to replace the div with Modal dialog. That was weird. So Modal header with a close button. I'm just grabbing this right here. So I'm going to go with modal title of this.props.title, modal header, boom, 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 okay. So modal, dang it, I really did not want to do that. Dot body, there we go. Body, can you feel my body, baby? Sorry, having flashbacks to my YMCA or my Village People days. Yes, I'm old. Give me a break. Actually, we're going to do this. Well, we'll do that later. Yeah, we'll do that later too. So for right now, we'll just have a div non-breaking space, close div. Actually, no. Alright, so we'll probably leave it there for right now. I know it's kind of a tease of, you know, something I'm working on, but I promise you I will probably post the result of what I did up on the Discord. Again, link can be found in the description. So as I am about ready to shut this down, let me switch back to this. I want to thank everybody that is watching, that is, you know, following. You know, I appreciate everybody that has been watching and listening to this. Again, I want to re-emphasize that this is a very grassroots operation with no funding of any kind other than using the equipment that I already own. So if you want to donate, don't mind the dog in the background. I unfortunately do not have a Patreon set up, but you can always email me at contact@galacticblue.net. You can also, you know, email me there if you want to unofficially sponsor the podcast. Follow me on Twitter at galacticblue1, facebook.com/galacticblueus, YouTube by searching for Galactic Blue, or again, the link is in the description of the podcast and the YouTube channel. But then again, if you're on YouTube, you're already there, so yeah. Or if you want to see our live streams, head on over to twitch.tv/galacticblue1. galacticblue.net is where you can find us, and the podcast is going to be up by Thursday on Buzzsprout, which can then be submitted out to all the hitters like Google Play, Apple, Spotify, so forth. Links for all the social media can be found in the description of the YouTube video and or podcast. We're currently working on a website for the podcast, so keep following us on Twitter for updates on that. And again, I want to reemphasize, thank you so much for watching and for listening. And until next time, always remember your closing tags.
on that our presentation.